Tonight's Big 12 Network game is brought to you by Phillips 66. Experts in gas since 1927. By USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of the military, veterans, and their families. By Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. And by Motel 6, the official economy lodging partner of Big 12 fans everywhere. An electric atmosphere at Bramlett's Coliseum in Manhattan. And it's the Kansas Jayhawks, number 3 in the country, taking on the number 11 Wildcats of Kansas State. Let's check out the starting lineups. First of all, for the visitors from Lawrence. And there they are, the guards in that backcourt. Elijah Johnson, Ben McLemore, and Travis Relaford. Up front, Kevin Young, Jeff Withey. 4 seniors and a redshirt freshman. And 3 of those 4 seniors are redshirt seniors. They're 5th-year seniors. So in a very experienced KU team. The Wildcats come in with Angel Rodriguez coming off maybe his best game of the year against Oklahoma. Will Spradling also scored 15 in that game. Rodney Magruder has really been on a scoring tear, along with Shane Southwell, 4-guard lineup, along with Thomas Gibson, the big man. Well, these two teams certainly no strangers to each other. A series that started way back, Fran, in 1907.
You think of the great players and great coaches that have been part of this series, Hall of Fame type people, and the atmosphere in here is second to none right now.
Bill Self's team, they have had the best of the Wildcats of late. In fact, they've won 44 of the last 47 meetings and have only lost twice in 24 previous trips to Bramlett.
Well, this is a little bit different Kansas State team because it's experienced. They've been through these games before, and they are ready for this one.
Certainly, Bruce Weber has this team playing their best basketball right now on an 8-game winning streak.
It took a while. The residue of toughness that Frank Martin left behind is still here with Bruce Weber. He's tweaked the offense, and he's getting a lot out of his young team.
Rodney Magruder, the star of the Wildcats. He scored only 4 in the game you saw at Gonzaga. Since then, he's averaged 19. The opening tip goes out of bounds, and it'll belong to the Wildcats.
Dave, this is a much more efficient team with Shane Southwell in the lineup because they have one more ball handler and more guys that can get Magruder the ball.
Kansas State in their home gray uniforms. Kansas in their road blue. Spradling, no. Johnson's got the rebound. Quick crossover dribble. Johnson all the way to the rack. It won't go, and Gibson's got it. It'll be a good matchup, won't it? Magruder and Relaford.
They know each other well.
In and out, no good. 2 missed threes, but a good rebound by Gibson and a block by Withey. McLemore, a floater that won't go. Little nervous energy perhaps by both teams.
Well, that shot was challenged for sure. McLemore didn't really have a straight line drive.
Coach Weber earlier this week, Fran, he was talking about he wants to make sure his team doesn't come out emotionally drunk. You get so revved up by the crowd and the atmosphere.
A good example right there is Angel Rodriguez commits that foul. He's got to be very careful because Bruce Weber has a core that needs to stay on the floor tonight.
Rodriguez, if he has an Achilles heel, it's picking up fouls a long way from the basket.
Even there, he's got to be careful.
Three-pointer off, way off target from Elijah Johnson. Here comes Rodriguez.
When Magruder runs the floor with Rodriguez, he commanded a lot of attention. That's why the lane was open.
McLemore. That'll quiet the crowd.
Boy, how smooth was that? They chased him off the three-point line, and he was able to hit that floater.
Little switch out top. Magruder now guarded by Johnson. Relaford's on Rodriguez.
One area that the Wildcats have improved on, Dave, they screen very well.
A little bit short by Magruder. Here comes McLemore. Relaford. Quick move into the paint.
Nice old school step by Relaford.
Spradling turned down a shot because Withey was there.
Judiciously.
He was about ready to go in for the layup, and then he noticed the big fella.
But I do think you have to challenge him at times.
Southwell. So far, these two teams are 0 for 6 from three-point range. Johnson, tough shot.
Pretty move by Elijah Johnson. Transition defense, not great early for the Wildcats. Kansas getting out and running a little bit.
6 straight points now for KU. Transition defense, normally a strength of the Wildcats. Southwell.
That's a young man that's playing with loads of confidence since inserted in the lineup for that Florida game in December.
All the Wildcats have done, Fran, since Southwell has been inserted in that starting lineup is win 8 straight. Good play by Spradling.
Will Spradling's one of those guys that comes up with those kind of hustle plays. Loves to step in and take charges. He and Rodriguez in that backcourt defensively are a nuisance.
Magruder. Both of his three-pointers have been just a little short. Relaford. Boy, after missing his first 11 three-pointers of the year, he's hit over 50%.
Isn't it amazing? And what you love about guys like Relaford and many of these Kansas players, how they improve over time under Bill Self. He has worked on that.
Here's a steal by Young. And fouled hard by Gibson. So Young will be going to the line when we come back, as Travis Relaford with 5 points for KU, and they have a 4-point advantage. We're back after this from our friends at Phillips 66.
Kansas by 4. Take a look at Ben McLemore. Watch how he creates some separation away from the defender. He's going to come off a double screen. Magruder's guarding him. Now watch as he moves. Let's hold it right there. Look at the separation he has between his man and where he is. He's just going to turn this up to the basket now on the catch. Magruder doesn't get back in front. And that floater, Dave, that is a well-executed shot by the freshman.
So McLemore, when you look at his numbers, Fran, this season, and his field goal percentage, he's the best in the conference. Points per field goal attempt, best in the conference. And in terms of points, he's ranked 3rd.
Now, you remember what Bill Self has told us since the start of the season. He is a guy that actually hurts the team if he doesn't stay aggressive offensively. And early in this game, they're looking for him to get some shots.
Maybe all you need to know about Ben McLemore is his 16.4 points per game average is 2 better than Danny Manning's freshman year.
And that's a pretty good standard, I think, to live up to.
I would think so. Well, here's Kevin Young at the line. Senior out of Loyola Marymount. .59% free throw shooter. Young has been 50% or better from the field in 7 of the last 8 games. We've also noticed a lot of teams since Iowa State playing off of Young and double teaming with him.
But it gives him a free run to go grab offensive rebounds, and that's what he does best. He is a real garbage man for this Kansas team. He knows his role.
And by saying a garbage man, that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
McLemore and Spradling. Rodriguez gets into the paint. Dishes off. deflected. Now Magruder back to Southwell. Good ball fake. Shot way short.
That's good ball movement right here.
Spradling. Withey clears the glass. Wildcats ice cold from three-point range. They've been hitting better than 40% in Big 12 play. Not so tonight so far. Stolen by Spradling. Rodriguez, finally.
Boy, how about Will Spradling? Comes up with the steal, comes down the floor, picks and chooses his spot, finds Rodriguez.
Wildcats now 2 of 9 from three-point range. Spradling got a hand on that. Boy, he's active tonight.
Both he and Rodriguez very, very scrappy.
McLemore on the give and go to Withey, and he's fouled. That's on Magruder.
Watch the patience right here of Will Spradling off that steal. There's the steal. Now watch his eyes, looking up the floor, deciding which way he's going to go. And then look at that. You talk about a rhythm jump shot with plenty of time. Angel Rodriguez knocks it down.
Spradling has been so pesky. Made a good play on the baseline, a steal there, and a perfect dish to Angel Rodriguez. Well, here's Withey, a 69% free throw shooter.
That sounds pretty good by some standards because he's 7 feet tall. But remember last year, he shot over 80% from the line.
Withey, one of 2 Jayhawks on the Wooden watch list. The other being Ben McLemore.
You and I have seen his growth as a player.
Oh, man.
There were times, Dave, where I did not think he would get on the floor for Kansas. And he has certainly proved a lot of people wrong.
He has developed so much, and on the defensive end, he's going to wind up being the all-time leading shot blocker in Kansas history. He'll get his first breather of the game with the Jayhawks leading by 4. Martavius Irving is checked in for K-State. He's got the ball now. Nadir Tharp also, and he's guarding him. Both coaches going to their bench. Perry Ellis is in for the Jayhawks. One constant, Magruder and Relaford.
Travis Relaford is going to be a tired young man by the end of this night.
It's going to feel like a pinball. Shot clock down to 1. They get it off with 1 second to go, but the rebound cleared by Young. Long 3. And Spradling is there with a rebound. Jayhawks haven't had a field goal in about 3 minutes in this game.
Right now, Tharp has gotten Magruder. Let's see if they switch back, and they do.
Whistle and a foul. This one called on Nadir Tharp.
Another young guy that has really given Bill Self quality minutes this year. Last year averaged about a point a game in 5 or 6 minutes. Plays with a lot of confidence.
You're right, Fran. Since that American game when he had 9 points and 12 assists, he's been on a tear. 22 assists, only 9 turnovers in his last 8 games.
And last year he was about 1-to-1. Not good for a young point guard.
Enriquez trying to back in on the smaller Perry Ellis. We'll just watch Relaford and Magruder, huh?
Well, Rodney played 40 minutes against Oklahoma, and he has to do a lot of moving in that offense.
That's a travel on the part of Spradling.
You saw that game Saturday. You were here. Oklahoma held Magruder scoreless the first 10, 11 minutes of that game, and he got on a real roll.
Yeah, he scored three-pointers in a row, 11 points to really help Kansas State put Oklahoma away going into the tail end of that first half. And then they cruised in from there. That's an important three for Elijah Johnson because he was just 1 for 11 against Texas last Saturday, and he missed his first three-pointer badly. Jayhawks with their biggest lead of the game. Spradling trying to cut into that. In and out, no good. Bodies flying everywhere.
Another example of good ball movement by Kansas State and good screening in that motion offense.
Good pass from Young. Perry Ellis will be going to the line when we come back. Kansas with a 15-8 lead.
Now watch Kansas's ball movement right here. Everybody touches it, side to side. And you get Elijah Johnson an open look. He knocks it down.
Between the Wildcats of Kansas State and the Jayhawks of Kansas, and right now it's the third-ranked team that leads 15-8. These two teams both have been ranked in 5 of the last 7 meetings. Interesting, this the 274th meeting and only the 16th time that both have been ranked.
Well, you know that it's not really a true rivalry unless both teams are very good, and we have that this year. You know, it's interesting with Missouri leaving for the SEC. Many KU people now are turning their attention more to the school 80 miles west because they need a team to hate, I guess.
I don't know if they'll ever hate a team more than Missouri.
I think you're right about that.
With Fran Fraschilla, I'm Dave Armstrong. Glad to have you courtside with us at Bramlage Coliseum, and a turnover for Rodriguez. The third turnover for K-State.
Good pressure by Nadir Tharp, and Bill Self's been happy with his offense this year. Not so much with the defense, but he'll like that peskiness. He's out of the timeout. Keep in mind, Bill Self loves to draw some stuff up out of TOs.
Good ball movement by the Jayhawks. Shot short, though, from McLemore. Tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Diaz.
The hustle inside, and hard to tell right there. I'm sure Perry Ellis didn't take that.
Johnson trying to get into the paint. Now to Tharp for 3. That's long. And again off Diaz and out of bounds.
Watched Kansas today, and we saw Bill Self and his team working on those inbounds plays underneath, and of course they've been very effective much of this year.
They probably have better baseline inbounds play than anybody, right?
Well, they execute them so well, and they save some good stuff for later in the season. They don't show it all in November and December.
McLemore, no basket. That's a charge.
Well, the freshman made a very athletic play to hang in the air, but Thomas Gibson held his ground. Let's take a look now. He sneaks through. Gibson set before McLemore leaves his feet. And a good job right here. Thomas Gibson using that big frame, although he's trimmed down some, to step in and take that charge.
He's still 270.
Yeah, he is. But they've done a great job with him since he arrived from outskirts of Dallas and Cedar Hill.
Boy, the Texas basketball scene in the high school, Fran, is just blowing up.
Well, you're right, especially in this league. When you think of this league right now,
man.
15 guys making contributions from the state of Texas.
Interesting to see Rodriguez turn down that shot. Now Southwell spins in the paint, and it's blocked by Ellis. Ellis almost wasn't there for the pass from Tharp. And he gets fouled on the play. Well, as the name might suggest, Phillips 66, the proud sponsor of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. Both start with Phillips 66. Both stand for performance. Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927. Fran, your thoughts on Perry Ellis? Comes in as a McDonald's All-American, and so far this year has struggled a little bit for KU.
But I've seen him growth and improvement over the last 2 weeks. I had a chance to coach Perry at the LeBron James Nike Skills Academy. He's a very soft-spoken guy. We've already chronicled that he's an excellent student. And I think Bill Self wanted him to inject some toughness into his game. And I've seen more and more of that from Perry Ellis over the last couple weeks.
Jayhawks just 4 of 8 from the line so far. They were great against Texas the other day. That's probably what won the game for the Jayhawks against the Longhorns. They were 21 of 25.
I like their defense early in this game so far.
Irving, no. And that was kicked out by Gibson. It'll go to KU.
What Kansas is doing, Dave, is on all those screens in the motion offense, they're going underneath and they're taking away curls to the basket. They're forcing Kansas State to read and stay on the perimeter.
That's another charge. That's 2 on McLemore.
That's a heady play right by Rodriguez, because remember, this could have been his second foul, but he got himself established, and you saw the extension of that left arm right there, an easy call for Rick Hartzell, and now McLemore will play with 2 and head to the bench.
Interesting, both McLemore fouls, charges. Magruder hasn't really gotten into the game offensively yet. Irving. Nice pull-up. A much-needed basket to get this crowd back into it. Up and under for Elijah Johnson.
Well, Kansas State, they showed hard on that pick and roll, but they did not rotate back into the paint, and Johnson saw that.
Rodriguez. How did he do that? Withey changed the shot, but it went in anyway. The big fellas going to war down low.
Now let's go back to the other end. Watch this floater. Here comes Withey. Look how high that ball goes to the top of the backboard. I'll tell you who has that move in his arsenal. And I wouldn't be surprised if Angel Rodriguez takes that from a guy like J.J. Barea playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. When you're 5'11", you better be creative at the rim.
That foul on Gibson, by the way, his second. Tharp for 3. That clangs out no good. Here comes Rodriguez. In a burst of speed. This time blocked by Withey, but a foul.
Rodriguez is so smart. Take a look, Dave. He knows he's going by Tharp right here. He gets by Tharp. Now he's got to get to Withey's body and force some contact. He does a great job. Tharp never leveled him off to keep him in front of him.
So Rodriguez will go to the line. Angel Rodriguez by far and away leading the way for the Wildcats right now with 8 points. Here's Kansas State, Fran. They're within 5 and maybe 4, and yet they're only 5 for 18 from the field. All while Rodney Magruder cools his heels over on the bench.
Good strategy right here. Bruce Weber's going to rest him through the 8-minute timeout, so he may not actually miss much time on the game clock, but get a couple extra minutes of rest. Now, you saw how pesky was Angel Rodriguez was on Saturday against Oklahoma.
Tharp loses the handle. Here comes Rodriguez again. He's creating havoc on that perimeter right now. Really feeling it. Ooh, that was halfway down and back out again. Young gets some space. There, though, was Jordan Enriquez.
He spooked Young like Whitby has spooked the Wildcats tonight. Young could have gone right up and tried to draw contact. Remember how strong Jordan Enriquez finished last season. He was a defensive presence down the stretch.
There he is. On view. By the Wildcats.
Kansas has missed some opportunities around the rim. Kansas State has gotten out in transition, taken advantage. Take a look. Now they'll play off Southwell, and he has played with great confidence over the last 8 games. I'm not sure you want to let him shoot that uncontested three.
Well, you look at the three-point shooting for each team, and Kansas State has hit their last 2. Kansas, meanwhile, has only attempted 6 three-pointers in this contest, and this little 9-0 run got Bill Self's attention. He called a timeout, and it got this crowd really revved up.
Well, Jordan Enriquez, as you see, some losses here by teams in the top 5. As Jordan Enriquez has done a nice job of protecting the basket for the Wildcats. A little three-quarter court zone press right now. Kansas plays 99% man-to-man on the season.
Ellis. That would have been good anyway. Enriquez got a piece of it, and it went in. So count the bucket for Perry Ellis.
That's the kind of aggressiveness that Bill Self has been looking for from Perry Ellis.
So Enriquez gets a piece of it. Ellis, though, snaps a little drought for KU, and they lead again by 1 after this from Phillips 66. Well, one of the icons of Kansas City sports, George Brett, the Hall of Famer, number 5, on hand here tonight at Bramlage Coliseum, along with Rex Hudler, one of the Royals announcers. Hey, for lots of fun, Kansas City's inaugural Big 12 5K Fun Run and Family Stroll happening in conjunction with the Phillips 66 Big 12 Basketball Championship, Saturday, March 16th, 9 a.m. downtown Kansas City. 5K will be open to all participants. For more information, go to kcbig12run.com. Fran Frischel, I'm Dave Armstrong. Spradling back in for Kansas State. The Jayhawks leading by 1.
Right now, Angel Rodriguez has caused havoc for Kansas on both ends of the floor.
Enriquez, no.
And McLemore sitting with 2, Dave, and it looks like Bill Self may not bring him back before the end of the half.
Enriquez and Withy have really become good friends, going to a lot of big men's camps.
They've done a nice job of shutting off that high-low pass to Withy.
Shot clock at 2. Tharp barely at the buzzer, a two-pointer.
Good clock recognition that time by the sophomore.
McLemore left to cheerlead right now, and Kansas with 2 straight buckets to lead by 3. Magruder hasn't scored yet. He's 0 for 2. And now 0 for 3. Tharp throws up a wild one, but there's Perry Ellis.
Perry Ellis, as we mentioned, he keeps coming on. Bill Self told us a number of times during the preseason, give him a chance. He'll play his way into the rotation.
Almost lost by Spradling. Hands by Tharp there. Angel Rodriguez left open. That three-pointer won't go. Ellis got a hand on it but couldn't control it. Now Southwell for 3. Here comes Relaford. Gives it up to Tharp.
Well, they had Withy inside at the end of that break. They didn't see him.
Ellis. That was blocked by Enriquez. Rodriguez. High off the glass again.
That's the second time Nadir Tharp could not get back and get established. And I always say, in transition, if you're even, you're leaving. If you're even with the defender, you're able to go by him.
A kick out for 3. Wow.
A lot of confidence Bill Self has in Nadir Tharp.
In transition, Spradling, no. And the three-point struggles continue for K-State. Tharp a 3. This could be a dagger, no. Rebound, saved by Spradling.
Well, Tharp has done a very good job of driving and kicking. Not so much with the long-range accuracy.
Southwell gives it up. Ball is still loose. Out of bounds. And it goes off of Kansas. Boy, look at the effort for both of these teams.
Well, let me tell you who's fired up, too. Bill Self is fired up because he likes the way his team is competing.
He didn't think he got a good call on the baseline either. Kansas leads it by 6. Now Travis Relaford leading the attack for KU here tonight.
Well, he's done a terrific job of improving his shooting, overall skill. He's 3 for 3, 2 for 2 behind the arc. He's got a quiet 8, but I love the job he's done on Rodney Magruder today. The strategy on Magruder is to not allow him to curl into the lane, so they're going over the top of screens and forcing Magruder away from the basket. Even though we know he can shoot it, he's not doing his damage in the paint area like he's so capable of doing.
And Magruder 0 for 3, friend, to start this game. Almost over and back. Rodriguez saves it. And a foul. That's on Withy, and that's number 2 on Jeff Withy.
He'll come out. Kevin Young will go back. And, you know, we've watched Angel Rodriguez continue to mature. Last year, there were times he'd keep both teams in the game. His decision-making is better. His fearlessness is terrific. I love the way he competes defensively. With Magruder, Dave, not scoring today, Rodriguez has taken it upon himself to be really aggressive.
Well, with Magruder 0 for 3 from the field, here's Angel Rodriguez leading the way for K-State with 11 points, all while his mom is watching. She is in town and just got to be so proud. The game he had against Oklahoma when he scored a dozen points along with 9 assists against Oklahoma, and to follow that up with another big night here tonight against the Jayhawks.
As that nuisance three-quarter court pressure back to man-to-man. Rodriguez has got one foul. K-State has taken away that lob to the corner of the board in this game early. A staple of Kansas.
Shot clock to 5. Johnson crosses over, goes into the paint, has it blocked by Southwell. Here's Rodriguez. He gives it up. That was with authority.
And a great decision again by the point guard.
Ellis, boy, what a tip pass from Kevin Young. Under a minute to go, first half. Will that dunk be the one to get Magruder going? There's Relaford, though, right in his hip pocket.
Absolutely.
Shot clock at 7. Southwell for 3.
Angel Rodriguez is dominating this basketball game right now. He's dominating it on both ends, but his playmaking has been outstanding.
Shot clock turned off. Good pass. Young can't convert. At the buzzer, he does. Young gets his own miss and puts it back in to give Kansas a 4-point advantage. But Bill Self applauds as his team leaves the court, knowing that perhaps they let Kansas State off the hook a little bit. The Wildcats shoot just 34% in the first half, 25% from three-point range. They get almost nothing from Magruder, and yet Kansas State very much a part of things.
Well, Angel Rodriguez has not only scored 12 points, but he's been very deft with his playmaking, and he's creating easy chances for his teammates.
So the Jayhawks lead it by 4 as Rodney Magruder is only 2 points, and they came with a little anger. Halftime at Bramlage Coliseum in Manhattan of the Sunflower Showdown. The Jayhawks of Kansas and the Wildcats of Kansas State. Well, let's check out the midseason report card. And Fran, who is on your all-conference team?
Well, this may change in March as some guys playing really well. Think about what Ro Osby is doing at Oklahoma. But you got to love Whitty and McLemore, the two mainstays for Bill Self's Jayhawks. Rodney Magruder having another super year. The senior has been playing well lately. Marcus Smart, the freshman, very impressive. He's got Travis Ford's team back on track. He is a stat sheet stuffer. And, of course, Pierre Jackson, one of the most exciting point guards in college basketball, playing for Scott Drew.
Look at some other awards and maybe your surprise team this year.
Well, there's a couple of them, but Iowa State, certainly the job Fred Hoiberg has done. He lost some key guys from a year ago, Scott Christopherson, Royce White, among others. He's got this team playing extremely good basketball, and I like what they're doing.
And Lon Kruger's Oklahoma Sooners have really improved.
Well, he's a program builder, and keep in mind that if, and it's a big if Oklahoma can get to the NCAA tournament, he will become the only coach in basketball history to take 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament.
You mentioned Fred Hoiberg's Cyclones, and they are scoring at a record pace this year, and Tyrus McGee is a big part of that.
Well, he is, and there's some really good 6 men in the league like Jake Crockett at Texas Tech, Phil Forte at Oklahoma State. But I like this guy. He's a sniper from long range, but he also gives you those hustle plays that any winning team needs.
You had a couple of freshmen on your all-conference team at midseason. Who else will join that twosome?
Well, 3 guys that we've heard a lot of early in the year. Of course, we remember them from great high school careers. Marcus Smart, Ben McLemore, and Baylor's Isaiah Austin, all playing the way we expected coming in. But I love George Niang, young man from Boston, who has really been an old-school power forward, giving Fred Hoiberg's team a lift. And Buddy Hield from Nassau in the Bahamas You talk about changing the culture, changing that program at Oklahoma. He's going to be a big reason why Lon Kruger's team gets better and better.
In a certain sense, even though he's not a point guard, I think he has the same effect that Marcus Smart has at Oklahoma State. He's been a great find for the Sooners. We'll have more of our halftime report when we come back to Bramlage Coliseum in a moment. Second half about to start here with the Kansas Jayhawks leading the Kansas State Wildcats 31-27. With Fran Fraschilla, I'm Dave Armstrong. And Fran, interesting, the two Macs not doing so much offensively so far. McLemore and Magruder with 4 points combined.
Well, Ben McLemore in foul trouble. He played 9 minutes, and then Kansas, the whole focal point of their defense in the first half, has been slowing down Rodney Magruder. They've done a good job of that.
Let's check out the first half highlights brought to you by Shelter Insurance.
Well, with Magruder struggling a little bit, the smallest starter on the floor, Angel Rodriguez has given Bruce Weber a huge lift. 12 points, 3 assists. Pesky defense has done a good job. Travis Relaford knocked down a couple threes to go along with some outstanding play defensively to give Bill Self this league. Take a look now as he chases Rodney Magruder around the court. These guys have gone up against each other for the better part of 4 years, and they're making Magruder, they're taking away his curls into the lane so he can't score where he really feels comfortable, forcing him to stay on the perimeter.
First half highlights brought to you by Shelter Insurance. All right, let's go inside the numbers. The first half stats brought to you by Papa John.
Well, I think transition points, you talk about it. Kansas averages about 13 points in fast break during the season. Only 2 tonight. Kansas likes to get their points in the paint. They have. Neither team's shooting the ball great, but we expect that because both teams are well prepared for their opponents coming into this game.
So with Magruder getting only 2 points, Spradley none. The scoring has fallen on the shoulders of Angel Rodriguez with 12 points. Shane Southwell chipped in 9 for K-State. Rodney Magruder, will he get going in the second half, or will Relaford continue to play that stifling defense? That'll be one of the storylines we'll follow. It's almost like that movie Hoosiers where you want to say to Relaford at the end of the game, what kind of chewing gum did he have? Was it juicy fruit or what?
Exactly. Well, you know what? We watched this walkthrough today in the practice, and much of the defensive preparation was on slowing Magruder down.
Jayhawks with the ball first.
They haven't got very much in their high-low game so far tonight. Credit Kansas State's defense. I think what Gibson is doing inside, you can't let him just wrestle with Withey.
Johnson, he goes into the paint and charges in. That'll be a foul on Elijah Johnson.
Boy, how about Thomas Gibson? That's the second time tonight he's sacrificed his body. He's a guy that I've described as a below-the-rim postman. He's not going to sky for rebounds, but he just got the job done on the floor, taking that charge.
Southwell looking for Magruder, and there's Relaford right in his hip pocket. Here comes Spradling. He rolls off a pick, and Spradling still ice cold. Will Spradling 0 for 5, all of them 3-point attempts.
See how they're taking away those curls into the lane. Magruder's being forced to play more on the perimeter.
There's Magruder. There's Magruder.
Yep. Because Relaford went under the screen, Magruder couldn't curl it, Dave, but he stepped behind the arc, and we know how hot he's been lately.
So that was a good read.
Absolutely.
Foul inside. Gibson and Withey going toe-to-toe, and they've got Gibson for the foul. That's his second.
Now take a look. Now watch Relaford. He's going to chase Magruder, and he's going to go under the screen. He's almost going to give Magruder the open look. There's the room to shoot it. Now, if you're Bill Self, maybe Magruder makes one more of those before you may have to adjust a little bit.
Let me correct myself. It's the third on Gibson. And that forces him to the bench.
You remember how good a job Henriquez did in the first half, especially on the defensive end.
That one-on-one update. And we'll see if Magruder's 3 to start the second half will get him kick-started. Inside, Withey. Blocked from behind, but a foul. That one on Enriquez, his first.
That may be the first time tonight they got that pass over the top to the corner of the board. Take a look. This is a staple of the Kansas offense. And boy, it didn't look like there was much low. I'm not sure there was much high as well.
Well, Withey going to the line. Only 2 points in that first half, along with 5 rebounds. Both his points from the line.
Good coaches know how to pick their spots with officials, and Bill Self was posturing with the officials later in the first half about the contact inside.
Rodriguez. Boy, that's a good dish to Southwell. His shot a little bit short. I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass. Here comes Relaford. Wow, what a spin move by Relaford.
Travis Relaford is such a great story. He redshirted one of his years so that he could let some of the talent that was in front of him clear out.
Southwell, no. There's Withey. And he walked. Got his feet tangled up a little bit.
Somehow, you know, Angel Rodriguez was involved with that. We talked about him being a pest defensively. Well, what a great decision Bruce Weber made when he put Shane Southwell in that starting lineup 8 games ago.
Absolutely.
They're a different team, Dave. They got so much more flow. It's so much harder to guard a smaller, quicker team than it is a bigger team more often than not.
Rodriguez. Long rebound. Who's got it? McLemore. And a foul by Spradling.
Really good hustle right here by McLemore. Enriquez, he'll go down in a pile right here. Take a look. There's the contact. Now McLemore gets that breakaway. Spradling fouls him.
Reminded of the line from the Baylor assistant coach and talking about the big fellas going down. It's like a sequoia in the forest. McLemore at the line.
You mean if a tree falls in the forest, do you really hear it?
It's hard to hear anything here tonight. Kansas has outscored Kansas State 8-3 at the free throw line. There's Magruder again. Not much space. Relaford's right there. Enriquez spinning on his friend Withey, who gets a piece of it, and a good save by Young.
Withey made him use his right hand. That's great scouting report defense right there. He knew Enriquez's strength.
Little give and go. Young to Withey.
A great job, Kansas, of forcing rotation, and Kansas State did not rotate down. Good pass by Kevin Young.
So Kevin Young making his presence felt as Withey gets the flush. And we're back after this from our friends at Phillips 66. Travis Relaford having a big game for the Jayhawks on both ends of the court. And right now, Kansas on an 8-0 run to lead Kansas State 39-30 with Fran Fraschilla. I'm Dave Armstrong. And Relaford has especially done a good job defensively on this man, Rodney McGruder.
Well, these guys know each other very well. They've played against each other many times in this rivalry. And Travis Relaford is going to need a good whirlpool bath after this game. He's doing a lot of moving.
Fabius Irving in there. So is Nino Williams, who did not play in the first half. That's McGruder. 2 threes this half.
And that's what we talked about. If he makes some threes, you're going to have to adjust to how you play him. This is a guy that started the season 7 of 31 behind the arc and is heating up.
So Bruce Weber has got to love this. Is Rodney McGruder. Remember, he had the big second half against Oklahoma State. Will he have another half like that against the Kansas Jayhawks tonight? Well, Bill Self certainly understands the history of this game, you know, playing for Oklahoma State, and now you look at the history of Kansas State. He welcomed Tex Winter to practice earlier today, the legendary coach, the inventor of the triangle offense.
And it was so great to see Coach Winter and this program, Kansas State, with a long legacy of great coaches going back to Jack Gardner, and of course Tex Winter and Cotton Fitzsimmons and Jack Hartman and Lonnie Kruger. It's great to see Coach Winter. Yourself and I got a chance to talk with him a little bit.
Yeah. He was honored at halftime of the Oklahoma game the other day as they get the ball inside to Withey. They're starting to lob it in on the low post again.
What they do is they throw that basketball to the corner of the backboard, and it creates a great angle to catch and lay it in.
McGruder looking to be more aggressive this half. Good pass from McGruder into Gibson. No. Gibson again. He got Withey in the air. Count it.
Now, you don't see Jeff Withey leave his feet too often that time, and he really doesn't need to with Gibson because Gibson's going to play, as I said, below the rim. But in getting Withey up in the air, he was able to bang bodies with him. Take a look. Now, there's the contact. Withey slides underneath a little bit. He'll say he was vertical. But a good job of head faking there by Thomas Gibson.
Big moment here, Fran, as Jeff Withey has picked up his 3rd foul. And Gibson with a traditional three-point play.
Kansas State's going to come with a little three-quarter court 1-2-2. They call this a nuisance press, and they'll slide right back to man-to-man.
Jayhawks running their weave, and there is the biggest pest of them all, Angel Rodriguez, and we mean that as the biggest compliment.
Bill Self wanted a foul right there, but Rodriguez, take a look. He's a flea. He makes you uncomfortable.
He's growing up before our eyes.
Well, he really has. Last year, he showed flashes of brilliance. Turnover prone at times, but much more of a solid leader on both ends.
Nino Williams, a 2-point attempt. No. Gibson, another ball fake, blocked by McLemore. Johnson lost the handle. A scrum for the ball. Here comes Rodriguez. Gibson blocked again by McLemore. Wow!
Well, we told you, Gibson does not elevate, so he's got to use his body to draw contact. He allowed McLemore to be athletic right there. Watch McLemore now. He's just going to get a piece of that. Fans wanted a foul call, but this second one, he just lays it up there on a platter for Gibson for McLemore to knock it back.
So Ben McLemore hasn't done much on offense, but back-to-back really good defensive plays.
Gibson's got to go to school in what he did with Withey. You've got to use your body and make sure you make first contact if you're the post player.
Rodriguez keeps his footing, throws up a floater that hits the back of the backboard.
All right, it was out of bounds. Doug Sermon's right on that. That's this little floater now.
Rodriguez. Ellis. And he's fouled. That's on Gibson. That's his fourth.
Bill Self set that play up. He called that play from the sideline. They got Perry Ellis, a quicker player, isolated on Gibson, and they went right at Gibson with a purpose. The purpose was to pick up that fourth foul.
So Enriquez comes back in.
We're at a point, Dave, where both teams are starting to get physical. And if I'm the officials, I want to blow the whistle a little bit more the next couple of minutes.
Getting a little chippy.
Yeah, I think so. And it's nothing dirty. It's just there's too much contact on cuts and on drives. Both ways.
McLemore almost lost the handle. Relaford. No, an air ball. Irving. That's blocked. Enriquez. Yes.
He's trusted Tharp tonight with the ball in the middle of the floor. Let's see if he does it again.
Tharp pulls up. Ooh. What a nice move by Nadir Tharp.
Anytime Tharp's been in tonight, Bill Self's given him a lot of rope.
Bad pass this time from Rodriguez. Here comes McLemore. Gives it up. Relaford.
Two unselfish plays. Relaford to McLemore. McLemore back to Relaford.
There's some of those transition points for the Jayhawks.
That's right. Didn't get much in the first half.
That's what Bruce Weber wants to avoid. Kansas in transition going on those runs. McLemore. Magruder. He is really hot here in the second half. They need to find him.
Absolutely. They're going under screens, and they may have to make an adjustment. This is a different Rodney Magruder than early in the season behind the arc.
So Rodney Magruder scored only 2 points in the first half, coming on strong in the second half, but Nadir Tharp makes a nice move here.
Now watch the transition, back and forth, make the easy pass to score. Then watch how they lose McLemore again. You see the separation between Relaford and McLemore. He's camping in the lane. He's allowing McLemore to step back and fade behind screens.
Magruder. Yeah,
Sorry about that.
We're getting our Macs mixed up, but they're both great players. Rodney Magruder, he right now is 4 for 7 from the field. He's hit 3 3-pointers this half, so 9 points in the second half after only 2 in the first half. Well, as the name might suggest, Phillips 66, a proud sponsor of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. Both start with Phillips 66 and both stand for performance. Phillips 66, experts in gas since 1927.
Well, we talked to Bruce Weber today about that motion offense, and I asked him, I was an assistant at Ohio State when Bruce was at Purdue many moons ago, and I said, how much did Coach Cady influence the motion? He said, no, it was more Bob Knight, because they were our rival. He coached against Bob Knight, Bruce Weber, as an assistant 37 times.
Wow.
And one of the things he's done such a great job with this season, particularly over the last 10 games, was adjusting his motion offense to get Rodney Magruder to read screens. If the defense goes under, he goes over. If they go over, he goes under.
It's a great point you make, Frank, because as you know, assistant coaches really handle the scouting report against teams, and I'm sure he really examined that motion offense of Bob Knight's Hoosiers.
Trying to figure out how to guard it more often than not, Dave.
And so he thought, well, it's hard to guard. Maybe I ought to institute it, and he's done that at Southern Illinois, and now here at Kansas State.
You know, it's interesting. Bill Self told me this when he took over Bruce Weber for Bill Self. Bill told me a number of times that was actually the perfect team for motion offense. You think of Darren Williams, Luther Head, D. Brown, Augustine could step away from the basket as a big guy. And Bill was very impressed. Now, we know there was that little rivalry. Bruce said, I think it got under Bruce Weber's skin at Illinois that Bill Self was so successful there. But remember, Bill Self had to replace a legend in his own right.
Yes, he did.
In coming to Kansas and Roy Williams.
Absolutely. So when you go to a program like Illinois, like Kansas, like Kansas State, normally you're going to replace a legend.
And usually the fact that the program is good makes your job that much easier.
I think for Bruce Weber, what's made it easier for him was that win against Florida, coming off the Gonzaga loss a week before that, and that really got the attention of the fan base and certainly of his team.
Totally agree. I was in the building that night, and I think the key for Kansas State is when Magruder's not going, who else can pick up the slack? Now Kansas has got to worry about Rodney Magruder.
4-point game. Withy's back in there playing with 3 fouls. Ellis really calling for the ball inside on Southwell. Throws it up for Withy, and a whistle and a foul inside. This one's called on Jordan Enriquez. And for him, it's his second foul.
Boy, I really like what Perry Ellis is doing. He has become much more aggressive in the low post over the last 3 or 4 games than I remember, Dave, early in the season.
Ellis at the line tonight. He's 1 for 5. Normally a better free throw shooter than that. Five-point advantage for the Jayhawks. For the most part, they've kept the Wildcat at arm's length, but K-State keeps hanging around.
I got my eyes fixated on Relaford and Magruder right there.
Magruder again. No, not this time. Johnson's got the rebound all by his lonesome. Here comes Tharp. Well, he can really change direction.
Look how they're trying to play through Perry Ellis.
Trying to take advantage of Southwell, who's more of a guard. Tharp loses the handle, but it goes right to Withy, who throws it out of bounds.
Well, credit Kansas State. That was a solid possession. They tried to post Ellis, couldn't do it. They kept Tharp out of the lane and forced the turnover.
The scouting reports for both these teams are dead on. Look at the fact that Kansas State has taken 10 more shots this half. They're not hitting a good percentage, but they're more active offensively. Magruder again. That one's off target. And there's Withy with another rebound.
You can see what Bill Self is doing. He's living and dying with Magruder shooting that jump shot. And again, not allowing him to curl into the lane where he believes Magruder's most effective.
Tharp had all day to set up and missed it. Withy. Good play inside by McLemore.
McLemore hasn't been aggressive in terms of looking at his shots, Dave, but boy, has he been aggressive athletically on both ends.
Enriquez didn't know it was a give and go. Irving gets back to knock it out of bounds.
Watch Withy. He's going to get this shot on the board on the rebound. McLemore's just going to lurk on the backside and utilize that terrific athleticism.
McLemore, for the most part in this game, has been really held in check. But as you mentioned, Fran, he's doing a lot of work inside. Johnson baseline, blocked again by Enriquez. Poked away, though, by Johnson.
I think Elijah Johnson was looking to lob it and threw it up, but Enriquez actually blocked the pass.
Wow, that's really tall.
himself is really trusting the deal Clark.
Tough shot. And off the hands of Enriquez and back out of bounds. It'll go to KU. Another turnover for K-State. That's their 8th of the game. Bruce Weber looking at a missed opportunity there.
The way we saw these teams prepared defensively, I think Bruce Weber wants a timeout right here. I would have been very surprised if this was a highly aggressive offensive game in terms of team scoring.
So Coach Weber wants to call a timeout with an inbounds play upcoming for the Kansas Jayhawks, and Kansas leading it by 7. Now you look at Kansas State starting off 4-0 in conference play. They play Kansas tonight and then at Iowa State on Saturday.
Iowa State, a very tough place. Of course, Texas is very, very close to getting it turned around. They have the youngest team in college basketball. Oklahoma playing well. Chris Walker doing a nice job at Texas Tech. They're undermanned, but they play hard.
Fran, when you look at this conference this year, and we talked about it at halftime, the great freshmen in this conference, and you look at a guy like Ben McLemore, you've seen Marcus Smart, certainly Isaiah Austin from Baylor. Where do they rank nationally?
All those guys they were 3 of the top 10 players in the country coming out of high school. Of course, McLemore had to sit out last year. There's a turnover.
And again, there's Angel Rodriguez.
Yep.
Well, he's really made his presence felt in this game here tonight.
I don't think there's any doubt, Dave, that the Big 12 is not as strong as it's been in previous years, but it's always cyclical among the power conferences. Still a lot of young talent in this league. Teams are getting better, too, in the month of January.
Little kids are growing up, aren't they?
I agree.
Spradling's been held in check tonight after scoring 15 the other day. Southwell pulls up. That's a two-pointer for Southwell.
Well, he really measured that shot. That's what Southwell gives you. He gives you that fourth guard, that extra ball handler, and another offensive player on the floor for Bruce Weber.
First points for K-State in 3.5 minutes.
Trying to work that high-low game, looking for that angle.
Elijah Johnson, no. Young keeps it alive. How did he sneak through 2 defenders? McLemore for 3.
I'm going to tell you something. Kevin Young made that play. Watching Kevin Young, he gives you a little bit of that Dennis Rodman type of rebounding presence. He comes up with a lot of loose balls just hanging around the basket.
Magruder trying to get his own rebound, but there's Withey.
Dave, that's one of the very few times tonight Rodney Magruder has gotten that close to the basket.
9 rebounds for Withey. There's Rodriguez poking it away again. Almost got that one. McLemore, he's heating up.
How smooth is that jump shot?
Oh, man.
How smooth is that jump shot?
Silky.
I got live.
Southwell. Well, no one came out to get him. He thought, I'll take the 3. And we've got a timeout on the court. 6:27 remaining here in the ball game. And Bruce Weber calls a timeout. Not happy at all right now with Angel Rodriguez.
You know, I got a chance to watch this team practice in October. And Shane Southwell was in the coach's doghouse. Certainly playing his way out of it tonight. But let's take a look at McLemore and how pretty that jump shot is. Watch the hustle by Young, the quick ball movement, and then the pure stroke. The thing you love about his jump shot is there's not a lot of moving parts. So not much can go wrong. Little dribble, pull up, good leg strength, good follow-through.
He was never better than that game you saw against Iowa State when he scored 33, including the game-tying, banked-home three-pointer at the end of regulation.
Get a little lucky once in a while. How about this? 2 points away from tying Danny Manning's all-time Kansas freshman scoring record.
So he, like Magruder, having a much better second half.
No, he only played 9 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, but you can see how he defers to his teammates, sometimes to the detriment of the Jayhawks.
So as it turns out, you were right about that one-on-one deal. Picks up his dribble, helped by Relaford. Lobbed inside, Withey trying to jam it on Rodriguez, and on Enriquez, I should say, and Jordan Enriquez has just picked up his third foul. So the Jayhawks out of that timeout, again trying to get that ball inside to Jeff Withey. They do it by getting the third foul on Enriquez. And we're back after this from our friends at Phillips 66. Well, you look inside the head in the playbook of Bill Self, and they're starting, Fran, to really go inside more to Jeff Withey here in the second half. Let's go inside the play.
Well, they call it two-game, and they're trying to get the high-low established. Take a look right here. Watch Relaford now. Withey works his man up the lane, and now they're going to throw the pass to the corner of the board. Think how easy it is. Good catch, and then the finish inside. They didn't get that much in the first half, thanks to really solid defense, but it's starting to open up for Jeff Withey in Kansas down the stretch.
Close to a double-double. Withey with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and Coach Self applauding as his team leading the Kansas State Wildcats 53-46. Withey comes in, the leading shot blocker in the Big 12 Conference. He had 78 blocks coming in. What's more impressive, Fran, is 59 of those 78 block shots have stayed in bounds and gone to KU.
And keep in mind, he doesn't foul very often as well, so he gets it done both ways.
Southwell working on Young.
Relaford is earning his meal money tonight. I think he gets the extra Subway sandwich on the way back to Lawrence.
The football.
Exactly.
Southwell talking to Young as they go up the court.
Whitehead, a little preventive officiating, got right in between them without stopping the action. But Southwell gives them a different dimension.
Lob inside, no.
I think Young thought he was throwing it to McLemore.
It's Southwell who's on fire right now, Fran. He has the last 8 points for K-State. Now Magruder. He hit 3 threes to start the second half. Been a little cooled off now, and a timeout taken here with the Jayhawks leading it 54-49. It's Bill Self who calls a 30-second timeout.
I mentioned earlier I was at practice in October, and Shane Southwell was so far in Bruce Weber's doghouse that you couldn't smell him. And he's not a great practice player. You see the woofing right there, back and forth. They put him in the lineup. After the Gonzaga game, they went to the small lineup. It opened up their motion. He's a good passer. He can move the ball. He can screen. But you're also seeing what he can do when he can score on his own and make shots.
Fran, he matches his career high with 17 tonight, and he doesn't seem to be a mismatch at the 4.
Well, he's not, because Kevin Young is not a physical player, and when Perry Ellis comes in, he doesn't play physically either. And when he does play against bigger players in Big 12 play, he's got the advantage on the offensive end with his perimeter ability.
So Southwell and, of course, Magruder, who's really picked up his offense. They've really been great in this 8-game winning streak, the Wildcats. Facing a tough test in the third-ranked Jayhawks here tonight.
That's good scouting report. They took away that low cross screen for Withey that Kansas often gets.
Rodriguez, what a save. But he saves it to Johnson, to Young. No! Blocked by Enriquez. Wow!
Young has missed 3 or 4 point-blank shots tonight at the rim. Wasted opportunities.
Coach Weber screaming for a foul, and he got it.
Well, Young got away with 2 bumps, but the third one. Watch this hustle here by Angel Rodriguez. We talked about all those hustle plays he's made, the scrappiness. I'll tell you, he is underrated to me defensively, Dave, and you saw it Saturday against Oklahoma.
I felt the same way about Jacob Pullen when he played here. Southwell loses the handle with 9 to shoot it. He's in trouble, and a timeout taken by Coach Weber. So we'll have a full timeout here with 3:46 remaining, and the Jayhawks leading by 5. We welcome you back to a raucous Bramlage Coliseum in Manhattan, with the third-ranked Jayhawks leading Angel Rodriguez and the 11th-ranked Wildcats. And right now on this inbounds play for K-State, only 6 on the shot clock.
And Rodriguez is taking it out. So you're either going to get the ball to Magruder to operate. Potentially Rodriguez, as the inbounder, may get it back and use that quickness and penetration. Let's see. It's going to be Rodriguez with the handoff.
You better hurry. That one. Shot clock violation, but it hit the rim.
Yeah. See, Rick Hartzell did not have a good angle. Doug Sermons was the center official. He was right on that.
We'll sort it out through the timeout. We'll take one more look at it as we head to break. As the shot clock was expiring, this ball hits the rim. We'll be back to Bramlage Coliseum in just a moment. Tonight's Big 12 Network game has been brought to you by Phillips 66. Experts in gas since 1927. By Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, there's 3 teams out here, Dave, including the officials. Now watch at the end of this shot clock as Rodriguez goes. There's an official here, and an official at midcourt. Rick Hartzell from the other side of the floor blew the whistle, thinking that the ball didn't hit the rim. Doug Sermons had a great angle, directed him, and that's good teamwork, good officiating.
There was good officiating, so a fresh shot clock for Kansas State. They've got to get somebody besides Southwell involved, though. He scored the last 8 points for Kansas State over the last 9 minutes of this game. Southwell again. And Johnson able to pick the pocket of Enriquez.
Keep in mind that Travis Relaford did a nice job of blanketing Rodney Magruder coming out of that timeout. Kansas has gone to that high-low game.
With a little hook shot.
If you take away the lob over the top, then you have to play behind Withey, and he's gotten fairly proficient at the little jump hook from about 5 feet.
Outside of KU's only loss to Michigan State, Jayhawks have really closed well this year. In fact, in close games, they have outscored their opponents 48-24 in the last 5 minutes of a game.
And part of it is because the execution down the stretch. You see the jump hook. Enriquez did not want to give that lob over the top to the corner of the board. Played behind him, and Withey was able to establish deep post position.
Coach, as you look at 2:29 remaining, do you start to use clock a little bit if you're KU?
I think you do. And remember, the 2-game, now they're going to go into their ball screen, but their 2-game offense really is a delay game a little bit, or at least a clock leader. And there they are. You see they're trying to go high-low, but then they'll go ball screen.
Shot clock at 10. Stepping on the sideline was McLemore as he received the ball. A turnover for Coach Self's Jayhawks. 1:58 remaining.
Well, they tried to flare McLemore over the top. You see that right foot. Step back on the line. If you're Kansas State, you got to move quickly in your offense.
Rodriguez, nice little lob pass. Gibson, who's back playing with 4 fouls.
That's quick action right there. High ball screen.
Timeout taken by Coach Self. 1:29 remaining. He wants to talk things over and make sure each possession counts coming down the stretch. Well, let's check out our 6th man of the game, brought to you by Motel 6. And coming off the bench tonight for the Jayhawks with 8 points, Perry Ellis.
I thought Perry Ellis did a nice job of establishing the ability to beat his man off the dribble. He got Gibson in foul trouble. It's a young man from Wichita, part of 4 state championship teams at Wichita Heights. And you love about this league is it's not just the McLemores and the Marcus Smarts. It's the guys like the Buddy Hields at Oklahoma, the Josh Grays at Texas Tech, the Perry Ellises that start to mature in conference play.
We mentioned the Jayhawks since that loss to Michigan State, which seems like, you know, a lifetime ago almost. What did you count?
10
How many
weeks,
days?
10 weeks. 10 weeks today.
70 days since their last loss. And look what they've done in crunch time against everyone else. And that doesn't count the games where they've blown opponents out. These are only in the close games.
You remember the Iowa State game was a very close game, as well as that Texas game on the road Saturday.
Yeah, they were down 11 in that game to the Longhorns. Good crossover dribble. Johnson tried to jam it home. No. Fresh shot clock.
Yep. You got veterans on the floor for Kansas, so they recognize the clock, and now they can milk some more time.
Under a minute to go.
I wouldn't foul here if I was Kansas State. Play it one more possession.
Shot clock at 10. Johnson gives it up on the baseline to Young. It's stolen by Southwell. Southwell, coast to coast.
Great recognition by Southwell. Nobody stopped the drive.
And another timeout taken by Coach Self. He has 1 remaining. No timeouts remaining for the Wildcats.
Now, if you're Bruce Weber right now, you cannot take. Now, this is tremendous defense. Take a look right here. They come up with the loose ball. Southwell is going to read. He gets right to the rim. If you're Bruce Weber right now, take a look again. Now you got to think. Trap quickly, but foul right away. There's too much 2.9 differential, Dave. You don't want to take that chance. It's not the NBA where you can call timeout and inbound it at your own quarter court.
Coach Weber hoping that the magic of the Octagon of Doom comes through for Kansas State. You look at top 5 teams that have gone down just this month. And the 3rd-ranked Jayhawks do not want to be on that list.
Bill Self has gone to a 4-guard offense. They got Kevin Young out of the game because he's a below 60% free throw shooter.
You almost have to foul if you're the Wildcats now.
Yes, you do. And I think I would put Tharp on the line, although he's been pretty good this year.
And that's what they'll do. Tharp, 8 for 9 from the line this year.
When you pick your poison amongst guys that can shoot it, go ahead with the guy that has not. Think about this. He's only shot 9 free throws since November. So let's take a chance with the sophomore as opposed to some of those veterans who've been in this spot before.
That was the 7th team foul on K-State. A 1-and-1 opportunity for Nadir Tharp. The first one will make it a 2-possession game. Will Spradling will check in for Martavius Irving.
Dave, if he misses this free throw, Kansas does not have to shoot a 3. Kansas State, excuse me.
Big free throw for Nadir Tharp. The din of Bramlage Coliseum, and Nadir Tharp calmly steps up and nails a free throw.
Now Kevin Young comes in on the defensive end, and what that does is that allows Kansas, if they choose, to switch at all 5 spots on the floor to try to take away the three-point look.
Nail-biting time in Manhattan. 2 big free throws for Nadir Tharp gives Kansas a 5-point edge.
That's a smart play because that's only the 4th team foul. Bill Self signaled for the foul, and they're going to have 2 more opportunities to foul. And make sure they're not in the act of shooting.
Magruder, tough 3, no. Rodriguez trying to save it on the baseline, but he stepped out of bounds. 16 seconds to go.
Dave, the reason Rodney Magruder shot that basketball is because he knew Kansas was going to try to foul him. It wasn't a clean look.
And number 3, Martavius Irving.
McLemore is fouled in the corner. Well, let's check out our Geico player of the game, and we're going to give it to Travis Relaford of the Jayhawks for his work on both ends of the court.
Well, I mentioned to you that when he gets back to Lawrence, he's going to deserve a really good whirlpool because he not only was efficient offensively, but he really made Rodney Magruder, one of the best scorers in this league, work for every basket he got tonight.
So McLemore going to the line. 11 points for McLemore tonight. He misses the front end of the 1-and-1.
Now you can foul again if you're Kansas.
And that's what they'll do. And that's only the 5th team foul on the Jayhawks.
It's hard to second-guess Angel Rodriguez. I would have loved to have seen him pull up right there from 3 because they need a 3 anyway at some point here in the next 9.5 seconds.
You look at Rodriguez, had that great first half, scoreless though in the second half. Kansas really made the adjustment. Long 3 from Southwell, no. Magruder, that would have counted had it gone. He'll go to the line. The foul here is on McLemore. 5 seconds remaining, and it looks like the Jayhawks are going to escape Manhattan with a win again against the Wildcats.
Shooting 2 for Kansas State 22, Rodney Magruder.
Now you need something crazy to happen.
Yes.
Magruder's got a hit. You know, if he hits both of these, you have to steal it right away or foul right away. I think if you're Rodney, if you're Bruce Weber right here, you make the second free throw, you press and foul immediately, and then you have to hope for a miracle. Kansas is still only in the 1-and-1, Dave.
Enriquez will check back in. You need a steal right now if you're the Wildcats.
Exactly.
They wrap up Elijah Johnson with 3.6 seconds remaining. Again, this next free throw will be big. You look at the upcoming schedule for the Jayhawks. If they win here tonight, they kind of start to put a stamp again on the Big 12 race as they would go to 5-0 in the conference. But a big game coming up Saturday that you'll do against the Oklahoma Sooners.
Ron Kruger's team, 4-1 right now, playing well. Here's one thing that I would tell Kent. Now, they may have practiced this, okay? If there's a missed shot with 3.6 seconds, you have at least 3 dribbles. You do not have to look at the clock. Just take your 3 dribbles, get as close as you can, and get one up. But it has to be on this miss.
Well, that should seal the game. It makes it a 2-possession game, and now Coach Self telling his team, don't foul. In 25 years at Bramlage Coliseum, the Jayhawks will be 23-2. And that will do it. The Jayhawks with their 16th straight win as Bill Self able to get by the Wildcats of Kansas State 59-55.
Well, it was a game we expected to be a grinded-out affair. The defense was excellent both ways. Kansas found a way to win down the stretch. Veteran players making big plays.
So once again, our final score, the Jayhawks 59, the Wildcats 55. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire Big 12 crew, I'm Dave Armstrong. Join us Saturday, 12:30 for Studio 66 with Doug Bell and Reed Geddes. For more information on the Big 12 Network, log on to ESPNplus.com. The preceding and exclusive presentation of ESPN Regional Television.